Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to be looking at annotated bibliographies. And how do we use annotated bibliographies? Why do we use them? What is the expectation for them? Okay, so annotated bibliographies, you will note, that in the word annotated, we hear the word note, like notations, little side comments we um, make on ideas. And bibliography, you probably know as another way to say works cited, okay? So bibliography is a list of the sources that you use, and an annotated bibliography simply means a list of the sources that you used with notations, okay? We're going to go through this Owl at Purdue source, and then we're going to show you some examples, okay? And how we're going to use that in our research project. So, annotated bibliography. A bibliography is a list of sources, books, journals, etc. One has used for researching a topic. Bibliographies are sometimes called references or works cited, depending on the format you are using. A bibliography usually just includes the bibliographic information, meaning the author, the title, the publisher, etc. An annotation is a note, usually a summary and or evaluation. Therefore, an annotated bibliography it includes a summary and or evaluation of each of the sources. Depending on your project or the assignment, your annotations may do one or more of the following. You are going to do all three of these steps, okay? When you do an annotated bibliography for me, you're going to do all three of these steps. Now, starting basic, you might have one sentence each. However, you guys should go a little bit deeper, and with this research paper in particular, you're having a higher level of depth. So we're going to add to that, but it depends on the actual assignment. But you're going to do all three of these all the time. So first thing we have to do is summarize. Some annotations merely summarize the source. What are the main arguments? What is the point of the book or the articles? What topics are covered? If someone asks what this article or book was about, what would you say? The length of your annotations will determine how detailed your summary is. Okay? There is resource here on everything. We really want to paraphrase. We want to summarize, so you can practice that. Assessing. What is assessing? Thinking of assessments, that's like a test, right? So after summarizing a source, it may be helpful to evaluate it. You will always evaluate it because I'm not having you guys check it, and I want you only using credible sources. So if it doesn't sound good, if it doesn't sound credible, then you need to toss it out. In addition, you don't need a lot of sources that all say the same thing. You want to make each source count and have a unique component. Is it a useful source? Is it relevant? How does it compare with other sources in your bibliography? Is the information reliable? Is the source biased or objective? What is the goal of the source? Let us know not only what it says, but how reliable is it? Why do we trust it? Okay? If you need help, you can go to this evaluating resources handout. It's really good. All this stuff, evaluating during reading. Finally, you will reflect, and this is a big part of what I need to see you do on your annotated bibliographies, okay? Once you've summarized and assessed a sort, you need to ask, how does it fit into your research? Why is it useful to you in particular? Was this source helpful to you? How does it help you shape your argument? How can you use this source in your research project? Has it changed how you think about the topic? Okay? Your annotated bibliography may include some of these, all of these, or even others. If you're doing this for a class, you'll get your guidelines from an instructor. I'm always going to have you use these 3 steps, okay? So why should I write an annotated bibliography? First, to learn about a topic. And in a group research project, this is even more important. You don't want everyone reading the same articles. You might need to share it out and so forth and get great quotes, but you also want to be able to use the information and split up what's doing what, but you also want to make sure everybody's informed. So you need to share this information using an annotated bibliography. So writing an annotated bibliography is excellent preparation for a research project. Just collecting sources for a bibliography is useful, but when you have to write annotations for each source, you're forced to read the source more carefully. You begin to read more critically instead of just collecting information. At a professional level, annotated bibliographies allow you to see what has been done in literature and where your own research or scholarship can fit. You guys are at a new level and you are constructing knowledge. You are a part of the knowledge base of the world. And so you need to look at what others have said. You can help other researchers. This is talking about professionally, but we're going to talk about your teammates. As you look at other researchers, aka your teammates, you need to make sure that they know what's been said and that they don't have to reread everything that you've gone through the process of adding to. Okay, we're going to look at the format. Okay, we have a handout to look at, but we want to write them in paragraph format. Okay. Okay, annotated bibliography samples. Overview. For a sample of an entry of an annotated bibliography, okay, so here we go. Here's an example of each of these mini paragraphs. You guys are probably going to write one paragraph, but each of these little mini paragraphs is a step. So let's look at, this is a book, Lamont Ann, Bird by Bird, Some Instructions on Writing and Life. Authored by Anchor Books in New York, 1995 print. Okay, so we have our format. You see this nice hanging indent, and then this actually could be tabbed over, but here's some great evidence. Lamont's book offers honest advice on the nature of a writing life, complete with its insecurities and failures. Taking a humorous approach to the realities of being a writer, the chapters of Lamont's book are wry and anecdotal and offer advice on everything from plot development to jealousy, from perfectionism to struggling with one's own internal critic. In the process, Lamont includes writing exercise designed to be both productive and fun. Okay, summary. What's in the book? Okay, now we're going to assess it. Is it useful? How is it used? What was the goal? Is it reliable? Why does this person have authority? All of that. Lamont offers sane advice for those struggling with the anxieties of writing, but her main project seems to be offering the reader a reality check regarding writing, publishing, and the struggling with one's own imperfect humanity in the process. Okay, so we're assessing it. This is her goal. This is what seems to be the thing. We're not just saying great or yay or nay, but we're making an assessment of it. We're judging it. Rather than a practical handbook to producing and or publishing, this text is indispensable because of its honest perspective, its down-to-earth humor, and its encouraging approach. Okay, so I've assessed it. That's good. Now, how does it relate to the project? That's our last part, reflect. Chapters in this text could easily be included in the curriculum for a writing class. Several of the chapters in Part 1 address the writing process and would serve to generate discussion on students' own drafting and revising processes. Some of the writing exercises would also be appropriate for generating classroom writing exercises. Students should find Lamont's style both engaging and enjoyable. So this person is creating the curriculum for a class, and they're saying this is how I could use it. They're giving specific examples of how they could use it. Okay, so we're going to go through some practice here. You guys are going through National History Day, and I am going to go through this process with you, okay? So I'm going to show you how I came up. I'm going to write in theory. I won't write the whole thing, but I will basically go through the steps of writing the paper. So I did the same thing you guys did. I Google searched a little bit. I went to greatest historical leaders in government. I found some good websites. Okay, websites. You can see my websites. But I really like this website, Famous Leaders, Political Leaders, because it gave me a little review here, and these were not the same leaders always mentioned by everyone. Now, one of the first people I noticed was right here, Aung San Suu Kyi. I don't know if that's how you say it, but she really fascinated me. So I read her little summary. But what I found out is she's still living, and she hasn't made much change in her society yet. So this is going to be much too hard, or not much too hard, but very difficult for me to talk about her legacy because it's not yet really historical. And remember that for National History Day, you really need to look at in history, right? Leadership and legacy in history. So while meandering through this list, I then found this person I'd never heard of. Well, I think I'd heard of, but I didn't really know the whole detail. Elbridge Gerry. Okay, he was a revolutionary. What I found out is Elbridge Gerry was a true patriot who played a significant role in America's struggle to establish its independent identity, ideology, and authority. Okay, so he worked to create what America was like. Before becoming the fifth vice president of the United States under President James Madison, he served at several other high-profile posts with great finesse. His illustrious political portfolio includes several much acclaimed distinctions, such as being one of the original signatures of the Declaration of Independence, Constitution framer, and successful diplomat. Despite being born into a wealthy family, Gerry was a ferocious opponent of British colonial policies. He actively participated in providing sustenance to the American Revolutionary War. In spite of being so closely related to the formation of the American Constitution, he refrained from signing the final draft of the United States Constitution, as it did not have a Bill of Rights. Once the Constitution was ratified, Gerry was elected as the member to the inaugural United States Congress. He actively participated in the formulation of the Bill of Rights. Throughout his life, he remained a staunch supporter of individual rights and state liberties. An intriguing legacy, I like that word, of his is gerrymandering, which I know that we still use today. Actually, I've heard of this gerrymandering. I've heard it a lot in good ways and in bad ways, but a process introduced by him, as for which to aid the party in power, electoral districts are drawn. Go through his biography. So, okay, actually, I think I've never really heard of him. I've sort of heard comments to him in brief things, but I don't really know anything about him. But he helped support the American Revolution. He provides sustenance. He helped with the formation of the Constitution. He helped lead out Bill of Rights. He probably was a leader because he didn't even just sign the Constitution. He refrained until it had a Bill of Rights. And he left this legacy of gerrymandering. So I feel like I have a lot that I could write about with him and that I could come up with a really great thesis. Now I'm going to need to do a lot more research, but he's a great ways to start. So, awesome. This is the person I've decided to do my project on. Now you guys are going to do an annotated bibliography. And I'm going to show you how to do annotated bibliography and note-taking because we're not using the same notes as usual. Now, you always want to use MLA citation, okay? I'm not going to right now because I'm just going to be quick. I'm just going to copy and paste in my citation. I will go back and I will add in my citation later, okay? But we need 3 things. We need to summarize, assess, and reflect. Now I'm going to do this quickly for our video, but I want to show you how to do this. So if I go in here, it says, look, it has all of these short steps. Okay, so source includes a summary of Gerry's influences and legacies, as well as a detailed timeline of his life events. Assess. Look at this. Do you think you're going to use the famouspeople.com profiles? No. So I'm going to say great starting off place, but should not be officially cited in my research paper because of lack of credibility. So how will I use it? I will use this timeline to bounce off further research. Okay, that's the type of stuff you need to do with every single one of your sources, and we'll go into more detail later. Good luck!